Agri SA is a patriotic, I'm going to say that again, patriotic organization. We are 77 members strong. We are a federation, we are 77 members strong. 9 provincial unions, 26 commodity organizations, and 42 corporate members. That is who we represent. We represent an industry, the agricultural industry. We are an organization for farmers, run by farmers, and it is farmers speaking to you now. We represent almost 15% of the economy. So I think when I have a few things to say about the economy and where I think we are going, I'm speaking about 15% of our economy. That is what we represent. Now, let's go to the ANC conference a year back. I have the wording of the ANC at their policy conference, and I want to read, and you all have reported on this, but I want to read it to us. Expropriation of land without compensation should be among the key mechanisms available to government to give effect to land reform and redistribution. And then the following is important. We must ensure that we do not undermine future investment in the economy, or damage agricultural production, or food security. Furthermore, our interventions must not cause harm to other sectors of the economy. And then I go to President Cyril Ramaphosa's closing words that he did at the conference, and I'm going to quote. We must ensure that we do not undermine the economy, agricultural production and food security. That is what is important, said Ramaphosa, adding later, the ANC has taken care to seek to manage the economy of our country in a way that seeks to advance our people. Even as it is implemented, we will manage the implementation of this with due care. Now, ladies and gentlemen and members of the press, that is the ANC resolution. I've got to tell you, as our press statement is saying, this is another nail in the coffin of the economy. We are past the point, and I quote, where we do not undermine the economy, where we do not impact agricultural production, and where we do not impact food security. That is our clear message. A farmer that wakes up this morning and looks at this process that went down in Parliament yesterday will think, any investor in agriculture will think they're going to change the constitution and they're going to use it. And that will impact on their daily decisions and their long-term decisions on how to invest in their farming businesses. If you understand anything about investor confidence and what goes on in the mind of the investor and the farmer and the long-term investments they have to make to produce, you will understand that this decision will impact on that in a negative way. It will impact on land prices. It will impact on the way we are financed. It will ultimately impact on production, and then it will impact on economic growth, and it will impact, because of the forward and backward linkages in the economy, it will impact on other sectors of the economy. So we are way past the point where the ANC said we will look after this, that and the other. We are past that. We are actually lucky that we don't have load shedding here today, because that's also another nail in the economy. So heaven forbid we will have food shedding one of these days. Now, if you want to change the constitution or amend the constitution, you've got to do some research. Now, what is disturbing in this instance is that Parliament did the best research on the topic, and the best research available is the Motlanthe report, the high-level report, page 200 to 300. That is the best research on the topic, and it says there is no need. The slow pace of land reform is not due to Article 25 of the Constitution, nor the fact that compensation is payable. It is because of other factors, and you've all reported on that. Now, the ANC and Parliament have disregarded the best research on the topic. Our stance in this regard has been widely communicated. We've been in Parliament 2 times before the Constitutional Review Committee. We have expressed our views to the media, to civil society, to parliamentarians, to politicians, to embassies and representatives of the diplomatic corps, and we are on record that we were against expropriation without compensation right from the beginning, and that is still our stance. I've said to you what goes on in the mind of the investor in all our dealings with embassies and people from abroad, and we are seeing some high-level people from the US again in a week's time. They are worried about investment in South Africa. This can only have a negative effect on that. I cannot see how this is positive for international investors, and that is extremely worrisome. We have been extremely responsible in our dealings with embassies and people from abroad because we are patriotic. Then there are two things that we will not allow, and if you can please report on this. We will not allow the Constitution being amended for political reasons. I've alluded to the fact that the research has been done, and it is not necessary. We will not allow the Constitution to be amended for political reasons. That's the first thing. But secondly, maybe just on that, the Constitution cannot be easily changed because it has to protect our civil liberties and the people against the excesses of politicians. Previous politicians, these politicians, and the governments that we will have 5 years from now and 10 years and 20 years from now. That is why we have the Constitution. Secondly, the second thing that we will not allow is that our stance against expropriation without compensation is seen as being anti-transformation and the progressive stance that we have also communicated on land reform. We are heavily involved in many processes. We are also involved in the President's panel, where I will give him the best advice that I can come up with, and I will advise him against doing this. So those are the two things. We will not allow the Constitution to be changed for political reasons, and secondly, we will not allow that position to be construed as us being not progressive and anti-transformation. That we will not allow. Lastly, as the first few lines of our press release states, we will leave no stone unturned to protect the interests of the farmers and the agricultural sector that we represent,